Hello and welcome back to another episode of Bedtime Stories. My name is Tracy and I am your host. Tonight we are reading Chapter 19 of I, the Wizard by Daniel McKnight. But before we get started, I need to ask you a series of very serious queries. Have you gone pee in the potty yet? Have you brushed your teeth? Have you got your water next to the bed? I got my water, I've brushed my teeth, and I went pee in the potty. Went pee in the potty as soon as I got home. Did all my things. I even ate dinner. Aren't you proud of me? I'm proud of me. I almost skipped it. I was like, man, it's like 9:30 at night. Why are you trying to eat dinner? But by golly, I needed to eat dinner because my belly was like, hey, you ain't fed me yet. So I ate some dinner. And have you done your stretches? I did a little bit of stretching. I just like folded over in a forward fold and like stayed there for several minutes while I contemplated my existence and all the aspects thereof. Hopefully you did more stretching than that. But, you know, if that's all you did, that's all you did. And you know what? That's better than nothing. So, since you got all that done, I'm very impressed. Very proud of you. And I got all my stuff done. Let's go ahead and get started. Cool. Now, if you want to, please, if this is your first time here on Bedtime Stories, go ahead and, if you don't mind, please subscribe to the channel because that'd be cool. If you don't want to, you know, that's cool too. I'm not going to force you to do anything. I'm not into force. There ain't enough dollars in the world for me to force somebody to do something. I'm not into that. I don't think it's cool. I don't think it's right. I also don't think manipulation is right either. So I'm just going to tell you straight up, I would like it a lot if you would subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell. Click the little like button. That would be really cool because I like being validated. Just being perfectly honest with you. And if you like the video and if you like what I'm doing here, then subscribe and click the little bell so that it'll tell you when I've done it again. And I've made playlists. I've got playlists of books that you can look at that I've read them by the chapter. Most of them are like one chapter per video. This book, on the other hand, is sometimes 2 chapters per video because the chapters are of variable length. I don't know why. I think funny people, improvisers especially, are weird that way. But if you meet one improviser, you've met one improviser. There's generalities that you can make, but they're just generalities. They're more like the pirate code, you know, guidelines rather than hard and fast rules. Excuse me, my belch. So, since there's nothing else left to do, besides like the video and subscribe to the channel and all that stuff I already said, we'll go ahead and get started. Cool beans. All right. Chapter 19 of I, the Wizard by Daniel McKnight, who has given me permission to read his book on the internet. So, all rights reserved by him or whatever, but this video is mine. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 19. With every step my horse took, my head felt as if it had exploded. By the time I finally got to the cottage, it was all I could do to get my mount stabled for the night. I stumbled more than walked through the front door. Vivian rose from the chair where she had been waiting. "Oh, dear, what happened to you? You look terrible," she said as she ran over to me. I walked into a stick. "A big stick," I replied. She grabbed my arm, led me to my room, and sat me on the bed. "Can you get yourself out of those clothes and robes?" "Yes, Mother," I said. "Stop being an ass." Her hands gently felt my head. "Oh, my God," she said as she came across the knot on my noggin. "I'm going to go make a poultice. You get undressed and under the covers. I must get some cold water from the well and some towels." She scurried out the door as I did what she ordered me to do. After a short while, she came back in with a basin of clean water, some towels, and a bowl of foul-smelling, water-soaked herbs. Gently, she cleaned the knot and put some of the poultice on the wound, covered it with a clean cloth, and laid me back on the pillow. Then she soaked a towel, wrung it out, and put it on my forehead. "Now you leave those on until I get back." Once again, in a flash, she was out the door. I must have dozed off because she was back almost before I knew she was gone. Lifting my head up with one hand and putting a cup of tea to my lips with the other, she said, "Drink as much of this as you can. It's a tea made with candlewood bark. It will help with the pain somewhat. Purgle was all I could manage with a mouth full of hot liquid. You're such a mess. What am I going to do with you? Was the last thing I remember her saying as I drifted off to sleep once again. I woke up the next morning with one hell of a headache. To my surprise, Viv was asleep, naked, next to me. My stirring around awakened her, and her eyes flittered open. Good morning, she said. How is your head? It hurts, I gingerly felt the back of my head, and much to my surprise, the knot had diminished considerably. What are you doing here? She sat up, clutching the blanket to her chest. Well, you fell asleep so quickly I was worried. So I stayed and kept putting fresh cold towels on your head. I got sleepy and decided to stay just in case you needed me. Good. Okay, good. I thought I might have missed something. You're ridiculous. Let me have a look at that bruise, she said, grabbing my head with her two hands and pulling my face down to her breasts. She gently ran her fingers through my hair, circling the sore spot. It looks a lot better today. The swelling has gone down. You're an angel, I said, trying to pull away from her. Well, then I guess I deserve a little reward, she said, tilting my head back as her mouth met mine. And that's the end of chapter 19. Let's go ahead and read chapter 20. I was still a little dizzy from the hit on my head, so I took my time getting out of bed. Viv had left somewhat earlier, saying she would get some food on the table and for me to get up when I felt like it. I didn't realize how hungry I was until I sat down. There was a plate already on the table, and I shoveled the food into my face. Oh, gosh. I finished in no time. Viv came in as I wiped some berry juice from my lips and set a mug of tea in front of me. How did someone like Ray get so lucky to find someone like you? I asked, looking up from my plate. Me? I was the lucky one. Don't be so modest. You're a jewel. She blushed a little and looked down. You're just saying that. After a minute, she asked, Where are you off to today? After swallowing a piece of bread and washing it down with a gulp of tea, I said, I was thinking about staying around here for a bit. The wagon that Master Vivax is sending could be here any day now. I want to get Ray's personal things packed up and ready to go. Plus, I don't think I should ride today. Can I help? Yes, I was hoping you'd ask. I don't want to send anything that's yours or something you want to keep. When Ray moved here, he had 2 trunks. Do you know where they are? I think they might be up in the loft in the barn. He stored a lot of personal things up there. After I finished the tea, I made my way to the barn. The loft was filled mostly with things the villagers had given him. I guess it was their way of saying thanks, or maybe a bribe to keep him from turning them into a frog. Rural villagers held very strange views of wizards. The trunks I was looking for were in the back, covered by a canvas tarp. After I pulled them out, I had one hell of a time getting them down. They were heavier than they looked, and a bit cumbersome. But once on the floor of the barn, I was able to swing them over my shoulder and carried them one by one to the cottage. For the next few hours, Viv and I sorted through the knickknacks in the cottage. Most of them were there when Ray moved in. All in all, he really didn't have a lot of accumulated possessions. He did have some assorted rings and other jewelry that I knew his family would want, but I didn't feel right going through them. I figured I would just let Viv sort them out. Most of the things he owned were clothing. I wasn't sure how much, but I did know that I borrowed some, as did Petch. Sorting Ray's belongings was one job that I didn't bargain for when I came here. I would just as soon let someone else do it, but I figured that it might be hard and emotional for Viv to do it alone. The next day, I got a later start than I had wanted. Oh, hush, alarm. Sorry. But I managed to make it to the village before mid-afternoon. I tied my horse outside of Hannon's and walked over to the church where Father Alder was touching up the exterior with some whitewash. I was kind of hoping you wouldn't show up today, he said, climbing down from the ladder. Why's that? I asked. I don't want to referee another fight. As long as Langhorn answers a few questions, I won't start anything. It's not you I'm worried about, he said. Well, let's get this over with. I walked with him as he led me to the Potters. Langhorn has been an apprentice here for years now, he said. From what Ailway, the master potter, tells me. He'll be ready to move on soon. Father Alder opened the door to the small shop. It was lined with shelves stocked with various types of earthenware jars, pots, and vases. From the back of the shop, where the clay was thrown and the kiln stood, came a tall, thin man wearing a brown stained leather apron. Father, what a pleasant surprise. What can I do for you? And a good day to you, Ailway, Father Alder said. I need to speak with Langhorn, if you don't mind. Ailway turned and yelled, Langhorn! You need it up front! After a moment, Langhorn came out wearing the same type of apron Ailway had on, wiping his dirty hands on a piece of burlap. He looked at the priest first, then me. He turned to Ailway and said, If you got me out to talk to them, I ain't got anything to say. As he turned to walk back to the wheel, the potter grabbed him by the arm. As long as you're under my tutelage, you won't be rude to a priest. Understood? Understand? The rage on Langhorn's face could have put a glaze on a clay pot. That is, if you still want me to sign a letter of recommendation to the guild, the potter said. Langhorn turned back around in our direction to face us, but only looked at Father Alder. What do you want, priest? Ailway slapped him on the back of the head. I'm not going to warn you again. Mind your manners. Did you know Rhaenyra? I asked. Langhorn, never taking his eyes off the priest, said, It's hard not to know someone in a village this size. Yes, I've heard that a lot, I said. You ever ambush him like you did me last night? I never saw him in the church, so I had no reason to. At least he knew his place, wizard, he said. What exactly is a wizard's place? I asked. He balled up his fists and faced me. His place was with that whore of his. He should have left with the gatherers instead of her staying here. Where were you when Rhaenyra was murdered? I asked. I told you once, go to blazes. My hand flew to the collar of his apron and I drew him in close. I'll have none of that in this shop, Ailway roared. If anything gets broken, you're gonna pay for it. And I'll add 2 years to your contract, Langhorn. Father, can't you control him? Bo, this is exactly what I wanted to avoid, Father Alder said. If you won't tell him, Langhorn, I will, Ailway said. He was in Moffat. Moffat? I asked, looking away from Langhorn. Why would you know where he was? He's preparing to become a journeyman, Ailway said. He went there to meet with the head of our guild. There was some testing he had to do, and he was gone that whole week. I nodded to Ailway as I let go of the apron, and then gave Langhorn a little shove. I still owe you for last night, I said, as I turned and went to the door. The priest gave a quick apology, and then quickly caught up to me. Well, that actually went better than I thought it would. It helped that Ailway was there to keep Langhorn under control. Yes, but my list of suspects is basically nil at this point. Perhaps it was just a random crime, like they say. Sometimes that happens. Could be, but I feel like an idiot. I'm missing something. I know it. And I think Ray deserves more. Perhaps the simple act of you trying so hard is enough. Not the way I figure it, but it might have to do. By the way, where were you when? Don't. Ray and I had a lot of respect for each other, and I had no reason to do him harm. I had no reason to do him harm. I waved my hand as if to dismiss something. I know, I'm just grasping at chaff. No need to worry, I understand. What are you going to do now? Well, I'm going to go back to the cottage. Need to wait there for Petch to get back. I also have to finish packing up Ray's things. Unless Petch has something to report, I should be gone by week's end. The priest stuck out his hand, and we shook. Stop by and see me before you leave, and try to stay away from Langhorn. Will do. Take care, Father. And that's the end of chapter 20. I hope you enjoyed it. Mama is tired. Good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bedbugs bite. And if they do, bite them back. Me, at this point, I'm so exhausted, even if bedbugs did bite me, I'd probably sleep right through it. I'm a tuckered old lady. But then again, old is just a figure of speech. It's a character you put on for a gag, usually an improv. All right. But I love you. Good night. Mwah.